1,654,634. What does that number got to do with the housing market? Well, I'm going to be telling you about it in this video tonight. That's right. Does it have something to do with a crash that's coming? Does it have something to do with what's for sale? I'm going to cover all that, but also I'm covering tonight, I'm going to be looking at what is the current active listings, how many sold in the last 7 days, how many homes are under contract, how many new homes sold in the last 7 days, what is the current active new home listings, how many active listings are foreclosures, how did people pay for these homes, what percent of homes sold under list, at list, and above list, and much, much more. Well, as you can see, I'm going to be covering a lot here tonight, so you want to stick around definitely for all this. Hey, you know what? I'm just a regular guy. My name's Tom Kerr, and I happen to be the real estate agent up here in Northeast Florida in this Jacksonville metro area, and every week I share the back end of my MLS account, so we look at these real numbers in real estate. So right off the bat, what we're going to start off is going back into the MLS account, and I'm going to start off with those active listings. All right, here we are in the back end of my Northeast Florida MLS account, and we're going to start off with those active listings. And what I want you to focus on is right up here in this section here where it says view results, because as I click on the different statuses, it will show the results there. Okay, so we'll start off with those active listings. Okay, that number is 9,545. Okay, next we're going to take a look and see how many sold in the last 7 days. That number is 467. Now what I do is I take those and I export it into a Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to be pulling a lot of data out of that Excel spreadsheet. A lot more than what I'm about to show you here right now when we finish up on this. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is how many are active under contract. That number is 1,421. Now what that is people that are under contract with contingencies. Contingencies such as waiting for an inspection, an appraisal, financing approval, or it could be selling a house before they buy this one. After those contingencies are met, then they go into pending status. So next we're going to look at how many went pending in the last 7 days. That number is 376. Now when you add up these pending and those active under contract, that gives you your total under contract. All right, next we're going to take a look and see how many people withdrew their listings in the last 7 days. That number is 94. Now these are homes that are still active on the market. They haven't expired, the listing hasn't expired. They just can't be shown because the homeowner, for whatever reason, doesn't want it to be shown right now, but maybe later. And what would happen would be if somebody's sick, if there's repairs need to be done, things like that. All right, the next thing we look at are those that expired in the last 7 days. That number is 143, and these are no longer active listings. They did not sell, their listing agreement expired, and they're off the market. So it could be for a number of reasons. Usually it's price. Okay, next we're going to take a look at and see how many new homes sold in the last 7 days. Out of these total homes sold, how many were new homes? That number is 83. And next we're going to take a look and see how many active listings are new homes. And that would be the new home inventory. That number is 2,249. All right, the next thing I take a look at is I'm going to take a look and see how many active listings are in status as foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and short sales. Okay, so we go back to the active listings, and we're going to first look at the foreclosures. That number is 252. Next, we take a look at pre-foreclosure status. That number is 17. And then we're going to look at short sales. And that number is 36. Okay, when I told you that I exported this and it takes a lot more data than what I'm showing here, instead of in the past weeks, I go over and I go back and look at the condominiums and do all this for the condominiums. I'm not going to be doing that from this point on as far as showing it like this. I'm going to I'm going to take that information out of the report I just exported, because right here, everything, this consists of all sales, okay, of all types, all right? But in that report, I can sort out just the condominiums, but in the data sheets, my Excel spreadsheets, I will show that. That won't be any difference. I'm just not showing me going through it here in the back end like this, because it doesn't make sense, because I can pull it out of that report. Something else I'm adding tonight that I'm going to pull out of that report, I'm going to also separate single family homes. Single family homes is the biggest, purchase items, and so I think a lot of people are going to want to see how the single family homes do on their own when I do that. So I'm going to separate them, just like I separate the condos out. I'm going to separate the single family homes only, and then show you the data on those, and then we're going to start tracking that week by week. Okay, what I do now is I take all that data and I export it, and it goes into an Excel spreadsheet that looks a little bit something like this, and it's kind of hard to read. So what I do is I clean it up and put it into my own Excel spreadsheet, which makes it a lot easier to read, and we can follow it from week over week. I've been doing this now since 2022, and so we're tracking these numbers in real time every week. Also, we're going to take a look at those rates and see what they did. They were on the downturn there last week. Have they continued? Let's check out those rates right now. All right, here we are, Mortgage News Daily, and we're looking at those 30-year fixed rates. And what you're going to see on each of these charts is right down here at the bottom is where we left off last week, and then up here at the top is where we ended up. Over here on the side is the arrows on the change, up or down. And we see here with the 30-year fixed, we've got a lot of green arrows. That one red arrow up was very small. Last week we were at 6.85 and we're at 6.81. So we are heading definitely in the right direction for another week. All right, let's take a look at those FHA, because they're generally a little bit less. Here we are, FHA rates. Okay, they had some more mixed arrows here with some ups, but those ups were very small. Last week we were at 6.29 and ended up at 6.28 for the week. So basically unchanged. A look at our VA rates, 6.33 last week, ended up at 6.3. A couple of unchanges, a couple of arrows up and a couple of arrows down. The most significant one is the first one down. All right, so definitely also heading in the right direction. All right, well, it looks like we're still seeing some green arrows, so that's a good sign. All right, now we're going to get into that Excel spreadsheet. Now, I just want to let you know if it sounds a little bit noisy, because it is, because I filmed this show on location in a new neighborhood in front of a new construction home, which this one happens to be for sale right now too. So what you're hearing is they're pumping concrete right now on a foundation across the street. But let's get to those Excel spreadsheets right now. All right, here we are into the Excel spreadsheets, and what you're going to see here is we've got, if you're new to the show, in the yellow column, you see we've got, this is our current weeks that we have here. So we're in this column right here, which is week 10, okay? This yellow column just before it is the previous week, okay? Now, to the right of that yellow column, you'll see the season 2, week 10 of last year. So I'm giving you exactly what it was last year. Those are the numbers. I put it into this Excel spreadsheet. I don't change them. It's always in there, so it's a direct comparison. Then over here, YOY is year over year comparison in percentages, okay, between them. So that's what's so great about my chart, is these are the real numbers I plugged in. They stay there, and actually this chart is available for download from my weekly newsletter, okay? Now, this SFH, okay, single family homes. This is something I'm just starting this week. I'm breaking it out, and I'm breaking the numbers right here just on this one sheet, and it's going to show you, because single family homes is the most popular, okay? So I'm going to break down those numbers there, and then later I'm going to do all the condos with the same sheets, okay? So let's start off with this week, season 3, week 10. We see our inventory right there. That's your active, all listings, 9,545, okay? That's up a little bit from last week. Sales, 467, so we've seen a pretty good jump from last week's sales. Active under contract, 1,421, and that's down a little bit. The pending, now the ones that after they cleared their contingencies went pending, that's 376. So that is up. So it gives us a total of 1797 under contract, and that is up from last week, okay? And also it's up from the week prior to that. All right, withdrawals 94, so that we see an increase there. Expired up a little bit to 143, and new homes sold 83. Okay, so right there, that's a jump of almost twice as much as last week's disaster. Okay, now and look, almost one off from last year at this time. All right, new homes active 2,249, so the inventory is definitely up. And this other number here in the bottom in the gold is the percentage of homes sold that are new, and that number is 17.77. Now last week it was like 11.3. Before that it was as high as like in the 30s, like a third, but they have gone down some, so we're going to track it, see if they come up. Now the single family homes, there we go, active 7,087, that's your inventory. Sold 374, active under contract 1149, pending 293, for a total under contract single family homes is 1,442. Withdrawn 78, expireds 108. New homes that were sold that were single family homes are 66, and new homes active is 1,733. Now the differences in these new homes, okay, just like anything else though, those are single family homes. Also that are in the other total with the 83 was also a new mobile home would be in there, or new townhouses, okay? And the percentage of sold that are new out of single family homes, almost the same as the others. All right, now we're going to scroll down a little bit and give you just a little snapshot of the condos. This is the active condos right here, 1,146, up a little bit from last week. The sold condos, 34. So we've seen that's up, and the percentage of actives that are condos is still in the 12% range. Okay, how did people pay for these homes? All right, financing. Okay, we see that the cash is about the same as last week. Conventional financing, close to it. Pretty much, you know, FHA up a little bit, VA up just a slight, and others up slight. So pretty much close to what we were last week, where we see that over 1/4 of all the homes bought are for cash. All right, let's look at those foreclosure numbers. These are out of the active listings. Okay, 252 stayed the same. Pre-foreclosures up 1 and short sales up 1, so the total of 305, so a very small increase, okay? So as you can see here the last couple weeks, I mean, this increase has been really slow. I mean, actually after it fell off, okay? So we're not seeing that flood that we were told was going to happen. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I mean, who knows what will happen around the corner, but right now we're not seeing it. Okay, homes that sold under list, above list, and at list. This is the percentage, okay? For this week, almost 75% of the homes sold were sold under their list price. 16% sold at list, and almost 9% sold above list, okay? Now, you know, the ones that are selling under list, I mean, a lot of people just priced them way out of you know, the normal market, you know, just to see what they get. And a lot of them, you'll see, they drop it after the first week because they know, okay? They're just trying to feel the market. They're not listening to the real estate agent, or they don't have a good real estate agent. All right. Next, we look at the price categories. Okay, homes that sold for $500,000 and above, we see there over 31%. Homes that sold in the 400s, you know, just over 13. Homes that sold in the 300s, 1/4 of all the homes sold are in the 300 range. That's kind of a sweet spot when you're out of this $500,000 and up. Homes that sold in the 200s, you know, 21. I mean, that's up there too. And the homes that sold below 200, you know, just 8%. But there again, we've got the homes that sold $500,000 and above, and the homes that sold in the 300s seem to be the top. Now over here on the right, you see where I say new. These are the new homes, and the amount of new homes that sold in those price ranges. As you can see, 26 of them were $500,000 and above, and then 30 of them were in that 300. So the new homes, really the 300s is that sweet spot there. Of course, you got 11 in the 400s and 16 in the 200s. Okay, the percentage of new homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. Okay, the number that sold under list, we're back up to the little bit of normalcy here. It's like 68%. Last week it was weird how it just dropped like that, and that, you know, half of them sold at list. Now we're back down to 20 at list, and 10.84% sold above list. Okay, so yeah, I'm still surprised I'm seeing that above list price holding on a lot of these new homes, but they are. Okay, the next thing I do is I look at MLS Advantage, and what that is right now ever the data I'm showing you is from the Northeast Florida MLS, which is the largest MLS up here in North Florida, or in the Northeast Florida, the Jacksonville metro area. Okay, we count about the 9 counties. Okay, we're going to look at MLS Advantage, because what MLS Advantage does is it takes all these other smaller MLS boards, and I look at all that in the solds. I just get the sold data from that, and then we get an idea of the real picture up here in Northeast Florida when we put it all together, because it's actually a little more because these other boards cross-sell to each other. So right now let's look at that MLS Advantage. All right, here we are in the MLS Advantage site, and down here we're going to look at the 9 counties: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. Johns, Flagler, and Putnam. Okay, I'm going to hit the search button, and then we'll see what the total is of solds through MLS Advantage. That number is 686. Okay, here is the MLS Advantage breakdown by counties of the solds for week 10, and Baker dropped to 1, Union dropped to 0, Bradford stayed at 2, Clay dropped to 59, Nassau went up a couple to 55, Duval dropped a little bit to 40, St. John's had an increase to 169, Flagler had a really good jump to 144. I mean, they really took a beating last week, and Putnam cut it in half to only 16 this week for a total of 686, which is an increase from last week. Okay, now we take a look here at the condos sheets. Okay, now we are week 20 of the condominiums, okay, because I didn't start this at the same time I started the other. All right, active listings 1146, as you can see, up a little bit. Solds up 34. Active under contract 143, so that's up. Pending up, and so total under contract up, okay, 160 right there. Withdrawals down a little bit to 8. Expireds up 21. New condos sold 0, and new condos active 10. Okay, how do people pay for these condos? Okay, 70% cash. Okay, now the reason you see this is because the lenders are more strict on financing a condo, in the fact that it doesn't matter how good you are, how good your credit is, if a certain percentage of people in that complex are delinquent with the HOA fees or their taxes or whatever, they will not finance anyone in that condo. Okay, so that's why you tend to see more cash deals in condominiums. All right, conventionals is 26 1/4, FHA, you know, almost 3, no VA and no other. And over on the side here, that shows you the amount of homes that were, amount of condos that were sold at those financing types. Again, we look at the foreclosures with them. Out of the active listings, we had 24 that were foreclosures, 0 pre-foreclosures, 1 short sale, so 25 upticked 1. Okay, kind of matched the week before. Okay, the condos that sold under list, at list, and above list, 88% sold under list, only 8, almost 9 sold at list, and almost 3 sold above list, so they're really low. And then again, those numbers off to the side shows how many units were sold at those percentages. All right, when we look at the condos in the price ranges, 500 and above, you see there, okay, over 17.5%. In the 400s, you know, just under 9. In the 300s, you know, 17.5 there almost. Condos that sold in the 200s, 20.59, and the ones that sold below 200, 35.29%. And then again on the right are the numbers of the units that sold at those prices, or those, those price ranges. Okay, once again, nothing new in the new, so we move on. Okay, here is where I look at the total amount of units sold based on the stories of the size of the complex. This isn't of the individual condo, this is of the whole complex, okay? Because of the Florida law that says 3 stories and above, okay? So we just track this just to see if there's any kind of trend or not, you know? We want to see. Right now I haven't seen anything that law is killing the sales for for 3 stories or above. But we show this every week. All right, so 4 units were sold at 1 story, 14 in the 2 stories, 13 in the 3 stories, 1 in 5, 1 in 6, and 1 in 18 stories. Now, because the law also talks about the age, 30 years or older, that have these new requirements, and 25 on the coastal or if the county deems necessary. So, where you see that date, say the first one, 2008, that is a single unit, okay, it was a 2008, it was a 1 story. The next 1 story was built in 1986. The next one was built in 1974. So these are individual units, and I just show the stories on the side and showing the year. And I'm just going to scroll down like that so you can take a look at it, and you can pause it as you see fit. Okay, these are the counties where the condos were sold. 1 in Clay, 20 in Duval, 10 in St. John's, 1 in Nassau, and 2 in other counties outside of our Jacksonville metro, but they were still part of the Northeast Florida MLS. Okay, this here we show you the original list price of the condo, the closed price, what it sold for, and the difference, okay, how much. These are ones that sold below list. So we're showing you the differences in how much below list they sold. So you can just follow that down. Again, I'll scroll this and you can pause it as you see fit. Now, something I want to mention is, again, I had said that earlier I said that this spreadsheet is available for download off my weekly newsletter. And to subscribe to the weekly newsletter, you just send me an email to this email here. Say you want to be put on the list and you'll be subscribed. Comes out every Tuesday. Now, this following Tuesday, it may be a little bit different because I'm in the process of switching the companies that I use for putting out the newsletter. And so if something will go out, it may not be the normal newsletter like that. It may just be an email from me with several of the links to different things that are in the weekly newsletter. But something will go out this Tuesday if it's not the normal one. All right, now let's get to that crazy number, 1,654,650. What is that number? Well, look at this chart, and I'm going to show you right now. Okay, what that number is, this is a chart here, okay, from Adam, and they do a lot of research for real estate information and data, okay? Now, what they're looking at, this here is a 6-month foreclosure activity from January through June of all these other years. Okay, so that number right there, 1,654,634, that was your foreclosures in 2010. So look at, you see 2008, they were going up, 2009, 2010. Now, a lot of people told me, see, I started this, okay, over 2 years ago, this show, and they told me, hey, yeah, the crash isn't coming right now, it takes 2 years. All right, we're 2 years out, okay, we're 2 years out from when I started this show, all right? So now we're 2 years out. Look at how they went down. Now, over here, you can see, of course, 2021, that's when there was all that forbearance, okay? So, of course, the forbearance, you didn't have the foreclosures. Now, these were probably ones that were already in foreclosure before the forbearance, okay? Because I think forbearance came around in 2020, okay? And it was like over a year. Look at, and then if you followed my show, you know that these foreclosures have been creeping up, but then all of a sudden they started creeping down. Now this follows just like my show. Now this is national, this isn't Jacksonville, this is national, but still gives you a picture. And now look at it in 2024, 177,431. Look at the difference from there to there, okay, from 2010 to where we are now, all right? You know what? No matter how you want to cut this, it's supply and demand, okay? What is a big way to get a lot of supply? Those foreclosures. That's what happened in 2008 when they started going on. In 2010, look at that peak. all these foreclosures on the market, what's it going to do? Of course it's going to crash prices. Now look at where we're at with those foreclosures, okay? So you're telling me that we've got to have a 2008 crash. I just don't see it. Not saying things can't happen, but I don't see it based on these numbers. I'm just a regular guy looking at the real numbers here, okay? Now, I've got a lot of people, they're accountants or this or that or economists. They say, no, it's going to happen, this and that. You know, it's just not going to sustain where it's at. It's supply and demand. Now, all the supplies on the, okay, we've got an increase in inventory, all right? But those used homes, what are those people going to do? Okay, some people have died, and those are used homes for sale, but a lot of them are going into another home. So they're taking some of that inventory someplace else. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work out. When you had these foreclosures like that, that's what created that crash. That's why I just don't see it now. Now, what we didn't have before was because of that mess, new builders weren't building like crazy. So there was a big shortage. But now we see a lot of building. So is that going to make a difference? I don't know. But just take another look at this chart. I mean, it's dramatic. So you mean to tell me we're going to go all the way up that all those years that came down, we're going to shoot up to that right now because we've hit the 2-year mark. All right, now we're going to go to the houses of the week, and this is where I take a house that sold below list and a house that sold above list, look at it, see what they paid for it, see what the appreciation is on it, you know, just give you some ideas, see how long it was on the market for, and a little bit of history what was going on. Also do that with a condo, and sometimes I don't have a condo that sells above, sometimes I do, but I show that also. But with the condos, we also show what those monthly fees are, because that's going to be a big deal for a lot of people. All right, so let's go right now to the houses of the week. All right, we're starting off with the house of the week that sold below list price. It's a 2021 home, 2,116 square feet in Duval County. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Okay, we take a look here at the history, and on all these, when we do the history, we start out at the bottom here, and this one here we saw where they paid where they listed it for $825,000. Then up here will be where the days on the market was on the market for 122 days, and then over here is where we see the closing price, and that was $600,000. Over here on the left is where you have the different events that happen, such as price changes and open houses, okay? And we see that on this one here, they did have a price change where they dropped the price to $680 at the 122 day mark, and they took an offer for $600,000. Okay, after it closed, we take a look and see what the price per square foot is, and this one here was $283 a square foot. When we take a look at what they paid for it, they bought it at the end of 2021, so they did get the file for their homestead exemption. They paid $530,700, and it was a new home. They were the original owner. Okay, I've had, at the time of editing and all, I had a problem with the appreciation calculator that I was using, and it just didn't work out for me, so I had to get the video up. So we don't have the appreciation calculator tonight, but I'm showing all the other information. And you could always put that data into one, your own, if you wanted to check it out. All right, now we're moving on to the house that sold above list price. Okay, this one here is built in 2001, 1,632 square feet in St. Johns County. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. History shows that it went on the market for $440,000. In 3 days, they had an offer of $465, which they took, okay? Now, this house did have multiple offers, and it ended up selling for $284 a square foot. Now, these folks bought the house in 2019 in January, so they missed the homestead exemption for that year. And they paid $272,000 back in 2019, which was the golden year. So they probably did okay. Okay, now we switch over to the condominiums, and we're looking at the condominium that sold below list price. This one was built in 1970. Oh, it's an oldie. 833 square feet. Total stories is 3. So not only does it have the age, it has the total stories for that new law that they've got to keep funds for the maintenance. Okay, now this is in Duval County, and it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home. When we look at the history on this, it went on the market for $529,000, was on the market for 81 days, and ended up taking a price of $414. At around that 81-day mark there, they did lower the price from $529 to $499, and ended up taking that $414 offer. Okay, we look back at this, and this was, holy crap, $497 a square foot. All right. We look at that monthly fee, $597. Okay, so almost $600. Okay, so there you are, $7,000 a year in the fees. You're also an old age unit, and you're 3 stories high. So I don't know. I guess they must have felt the risk was worth it in this one, and everything checked out. Okay, you know, as long as everything checks out and the condo association is solid, then you could be okay. I mean, this was over on Jacksonville Beach. Okay, now we move on to the condo that sold above list. This one here, built in 1966, another oldie, 1,168 square feet. This one here is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. And it's in Duval County, and it's Atlantic Beach. Okay, so another beach one. Okay, this one went on the market for $375,000. In 8 days, they had an offer of $465,000, which they took and ran. But notice that they changed the price. They upped the price $100,000. Okay, but it was after they got their offer for $465,000. I don't know this for a fact, but I bet probably that they got the offer so fast that they decided to, you know what, we're gonna up the price on this just in case that you know, we get a backup offer or this falls through. Now we've got that new price, because obviously it was worth more than we thought if we got an offer for almost $100,000 above what we asked for a condominium. All right, so we look at this one, and this one's more of a bargain at $398 a square foot, and the monthly fees on this are $581 a month, so pretty close to what the other one was. Now this one here, the total stories, even though it's an older unit, the total stories is 2. So it doesn't, you know, it isn't going to be affected by that law. Although, you still want to make sure, you know, the maintenance is taken care of. And you can see here's when they bought it. They paid $135,000 back in 2010, and of course they sold it for $465,000 this year. Hey, you know, if you like the way I put this show together, then give me a thumbs up, okay? I'm not saying if you like the numbers, just if you like the way the show's put together, give me a thumbs up. And also, I've got a lot more than just these market videos on my channel to look at, and especially on Sunday nights is when I do that Florida Home Showdown, where this house will actually be featured on the showdown this coming Sunday. All right, so, and if you want to check out all those videos and be up to date with what's going on, then just hit that subscribe button and be part of Bubble Watch Nation. Hey, this is Bubble Watch, and we're week 10 of season 3, and it's in the can. Next week is season 11, and until then, I'm out of here.